Oh my God, did LA finally get it right? Let's take a look. They have hired Sun WNBA coach Curt Miller, who has a track record of rebuilding success. The biggest hole in his resume is that he hasn't won the ultimate prize, a championship. It's not clear when the Sparks will hold a press conference to introduce Miller. His hiring brings hope to LA Sparks fans after the disastrous Derek Fisher reign. During Fisher's time, he was able to annoy franchise player Candace Parker by benching her in an elimination game against the Sun, who ironically were coached by Miller. Following this, he was given the role of GM and was unable to re-sign Chelsea Gray or Candace Parker, who went on to win championships for the Sky and Aces respectively. Combine this with his free agent acquisitions of Liz Cambage, who left during the season after he himself was fired, and his trade for Kennedy Carter, who had limited playing time at the end of the season due to her issues with interim head coach Fred Williams. The trade for Carter might have been Fisher's most damaging move, as he gave up Erica Wheeler, who helped rebuild the culture in Atlanta. He also threw in draft picks, one of which is the Sparks' 2023 first-round pick, which has a 27% chance of being the #1 draft pick in the upcoming draft. The WNBA lottery will be drawn on the 11th of November and has a chance to solidify Fisher as the worst GM coach in Sparks history. If the Dream wind up with the #1 pick and are able to draft franchise-changing player Aaliyah Boston, this will obviously, most likely go down in history as one of the worst franchise trades ever. Sorry, Sparks fans, enough on Derek Fisher. Let's focus on the good. So bringing in Miller is hope for Sparks fans as he has a track record of success. On paper, the hire looks good, and no doubt he will win the press conference. Miller has the bona fides as he's won WNBA Coach of the Year in 2017 and in 21, as well as Executive of the Year in 2017. In his 7 years with the Sun, Miller guided the Suns to 6 playoff berths, including 2 final appearances in 2019 and 2022. Miller is the 5th winningest coach in WNBA history with a winning percentage of 61%. Miller's personal story should also play well in LA as he came out gay in 2015, and he talks about his regret about not coming out sooner as he could have been a role model for other gay coaches. Miller does have an edge as he's had some public skirmishes with opposition players in the past. He was suspended for 1 game and fined $10,000 when Liz Cambage went to Instagram to complain about Miller making remarks about her weight when he was complaining to a ref, with Miller reportedly saying, "Come on, she weighs 300 pounds. He apologized and they eventually hugged out their issues. Miller has admitted during games that he likes to get under players' skin by talking trash from the sidelines.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I was watching an international game, and we'll save this for the so-called player, but in a big EuroLeague game, one of our star players in our league missed a foul shot, a big important foul shot. So I might remind her of that when she's taking a foul shot in a big spot against us this year, but I'm going to save it for the right time.
After beating Chicago in Game 5 to make the WNBA Finals, Miller could not resist calling out Candace Parker and demanding that the media get it on the record that the Sun had beaten Parker in the playoffs 3 times in the last 4 years. Parker fired back, noting her teams hang championship banners in the rafters, unlike Miller's teams, who celebrate conference championships. The inability for Miller to win a championship remains an issue as he went on to lose in the 2022 Finals yet again, but it was pretty clear the Aces had a better team. However, during the series, it felt like Becky Hammon got the better of the coaching matchup, as the Sun were slow to adjust when the Aces sprung a zone defense on them in Game 1 and were able to sneak out a win. As well, it seemed obvious to put DeWanna Bonner on Chelsea Gray, as Gray was on a heater going into the finals, and maybe her height could have slowed her down a bit. Hell, even I had that in my preview video. However, Miller did not have Bonner on Gray until Game 3, which was the only game they won in the series. The structure of the Sparks and how they are rebuilt will be interesting. It appears that Magic Johnson is staying out of the fray, which is a good thing. It's assumed that Miller will also take over as GM, as he held a dual role of GM and coach for 6 of his 7 seasons with the Sun. Miller indicated that he left the Sun as he's a team builder and excited to do this in LA, as it's one of the original WNBA franchises where he got his initial start as an assistant coach in 2015 after being the head coach in the college ranks at Bowling Green in Indiana. Now the question is, how will he rebuild the Sparks? Players under contract include Katie Lou Samuelson and Kennedy Carter, and 2 second-year players, Nelson Ododa and Jasmine Walker. Will Miller try to build the team around Kennedy Carter as his point guard? The Sparks have just under $1 million in cap space. The Agumake sisters, Brittany Sykes, Lexi Brown, Jordan Canada, and Christy Tolliver are all unrestricted free agents. Who, if any of the players, will return? To be determined. Will Miller be able to hang a championship banner next to the one that Candace Parker won for the Sparks in 2016? To be determined. But if you're a Sparks fan, you should feel excited just on the basis of how much better this hire looks on paper than the hiring of Derek Fisher, who had no WNBA coaching experience, but despite this, the Sparks felt he was the right choice as he had led the Knicks to 40 wins and 96 losses in his first coaching job. What do you think? Championship move for the Sparks, or is LA destined to drama and futility regardless of who the coach is? Leave your comments below. See you next time.